Oh, guys, and we are live. Welcome to Never a Foul. Just like this, we're here. We're live. We are with everybody. I'm not used to this no intro thing. You know what I mean? I'm not. This no intro thing just throw me
I
off.
imagine that was weak. That was so weak. You know,
It
we
was.
need to try. We need to try that again. Let's try that again. And just like that, guys, we're live. Yeah. Anyway, just like this. Yeah. Anyways, big up. Never a foul. I'll take over, Mo, since you're nervous today. I'm not nervous. Who's nervous? This guy's got making his own debut on Never a Foul. Some of you seen him on the Gals channel. Some of you seen him on a TL. Man like J rated R, or just call him J if you want to. A Tottenham fan all the way up in Manchester. You see, Tottenham do have fans, not just in North London. So that debunks, who's a bigger club, Mo. They have fans all around here, not North London. Right? But yeah, man, big up Jay. What you saying, man?
I'm good. Thank you very much for having me. I think this is my Never a Foul debut, so I'm appreciate checking out the pitch, checking out feeling the grass,
It's all right.
checking the stadium atmosphere,
Yeah. And we're gonna welcome our next guest, Kendall. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Doing all right, man. We thought we'd bring on your arch rival today, We thought
All right, I just realised who it was.
It told
I didn't realise
it took me 2 minutes before I got on the show, but it's good to see you, Kendall. How are you?
It's good to see you as well. I'm good, thank you. Are you?
Excellent. Can't possibly complain.
Good.
Yeah. All right,
This
today
is gonna be epic. But
nah, it's not.
Before that, I know that we would like to do the news in the morning, but just in now, Chelsea have agreed personal terms with Moises Caicedo. This is just now.
What?
Right now. So I swear, bro, it's just now, a minute ago or 2 minutes ago.
Who said it?
Fabrizio Romano. Fabrizio Romano said Chelsea have an agreement with Moises Caicedo. Now the talks are with Brighton.
Oh,
So
wait,
yes,
wait. I already know that.
that's 30 minutes ago.
I knew this last week. He's doing a recycled.
Dude, that's 30 minutes ago.
I know that, but I knew this last week. Is it? Let me guess. Did he do it off a quote? Did he quote retweet it?
Let me see.
Did he quote retweet it?
No.
Must have been on a channel or something.
I don't know, but it's right there.
Mo, you have eyes. Mo, you have eyes. You can actually see if it's a quote retweet.
It's not him. It's somebody. It's quoting. It's a big Chelsea account quoting Fabrizio Romano. That's what it is. So let me tell you how it works. Fabrizio Romano. Let me tell you, Fabrizio Romano doesn't tweet everything. He goes on shows, and people quote him from the shows. Fabrizio Romano doesn't quote say everything on Twitter.
Again, but this is stuff already knew last week. Like they're just doing that recycle.
It was never like public that he agreed personal terms.
But it's like the Mason Mount stuff. It's like Mason Mount. They just keep wording it with different words just to keep people interested and alerted and all this kind of stuff.
All the Chelsea accounts are saying Caicedo now. I just did Caicedo now.
That's great for them. That's great for them. Oh, you nearly made me have a heart attack there, man. I was thinking that.
Why? Are you scared of him going to Chelsea?
if he goes to Chelsea, that means we got Mason Mount.
You know you did, right?
We don't
know what happened. You did it. Oh, you don't know that Chelsea budged and they went down.
What? No, where? No one's seen this.
Remember, you don't know that.
What do you mean? I don't know.
So Chelsea lowered their demand from 65 to 60.
Yeah, that one. But then I've seen that Man United.
This is like 2 hours ago. It's like 2 hours ago.
That don't matter. I didn't see my.
You're gonna get Mount, that's for sure.
No, if we pay 60 anymore, swear down. If we go above
just accept it. Just accept it. Just accept it. It's 55 plus 5. You're gonna or 52 plus 8 or something.
This is exactly what Chelsea have wanted all along.
60 million.
No, it's not happening. It's not happening.
This is happening, bro.
It's not
you
happening.
Wake up tomorrow and it's Mason Mount wearing Manchester United jersey, bro.
Say what I.
I'm not gonna say what. Right,
then there you go.
Come on.
There you go. Then it's not done, is it?
You're done me dirty.
It's not done, then, is it?
I'm being logical. You're not.
I'm being logical.
You're in denial. You're in denial.
I'm in denial right now. When we take your goalkeeper, you're finished. You said it yourself.
Yeah, I said that. We're finished. We're done. Just come and get your boy. Pay the money and get your boy. But anyway, Winter Surfer here saying good luck, guys. Thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. Waiting for with the popcorn. So let's get this show going, guys. Let's get this going. So where do we start? We start with Spurs or we start with Newcastle? Basically, here is what. Go ahead. You want to ask a question?
Say, we might as well start with this whole scenario along the lines of Timo Livramento. And I want to know what do you think of this signing? Because 12 million is a bargain for this for a guy that had, you could say, 2 years ago, it was like out of him, Tariq Lamptey, Kyle Walker-Peters, and a couple other right backs up there as potentials could be one of the best in the league, you know. And then obviously recently went quiet.
Yeah, I think it's again very smart for 12 million, and apparently it's Ryan Fraser going the other way as well. So Livramento's wages are about 7k a week currently, and Ryan Fraser's a 45k a week. So that's getting that straight off the books. Like literally, he's crap anyway. He's been in the under 23s for all season because he was like Eddie Howe obviously has beef with him from Bournemouth and stuff. So, yeah, it's actually a bit too good to be true, if you know what I mean. Like the only risk that is obviously there is that he doesn't come back to the level that he was at before his ACL, which it's probably unlikely because of his age and because of all the rehab facilities you've got now and everything like that. I can't say anything wrong with the deal at all. Like it's actually like it's a bit too good to be true. I don't know how to grasp it because like nothing really is bad about it. 12 mil, even if it goes to 15 mil, totally like completely fine. And then we get an absolute waste man off our books. So I don't really see the problem with it. Depth for us. Trips will be leaving probably in 2 years or retiring anyway in 2 years. So that'll be fine. He can play both sides. Trippier can play both sides. There's actually like there's not a negative to it at all. It's out of the blue, but it's not one negative.
So you're telling me you don't need a left back now because Livramento.
No, I definitely do still think we need to start left back 100%. I think this is just kind of one of those signings that Eddie Howe likes, where it's like versatile. They can play a couple of positions, depth, because right back depth we have Manquillo and Kraft, but I'm assuming Manquillo at least will be off in the summer. And again, Kraft was out the whole season, so we don't really have another right back there. That's ready to start like Livramento. So yeah, we'll still get a left back, I think, but maybe they'll wait for the right target in January, and they will kind of see us through for the next few months. I don't know.
Here's how I see this thing. Yes, he's 12 million. Yes, his wage would be low. However, you're playing the Champions League now. So that means your numbers in the squad is not like the Premier League. You cannot register 30 players. So this guy has come. I liked him before the ACL. I thought he's a good player, good prospect and everything. But now he has been 1 year not playing. And I think Newcastle and buying someone like this, and if you register him in the Champions League, it's a risk. Because what if he doesn't come in banging? What if he doesn't come in playing well? You wasted a spot in the squad for a right back where you could have gone for a higher signing. Now, Newcastle doing these deals for 7 million and stuff for 12 million, I think that's not the level that you want to go to. You should aim for higher, because now you're in the Champions League. I think this is a very underwhelming signing. If he is to be, I don't
need overwhelming though. I don't need like Hollywood signings. Like this is, as I've just mentioned, like of all the positives, like I don't personally see a negative to it really. As I said, the only risk.
If you register him for the Champions League, you'll be happy. Here's the problem with registering someone like him in the Champions League. If he's not playing and you need someone else for Trippier, you're stuck with this guy as your right back because you have nobody else in the squad. You can register this guy in the Premier League. It doesn't matter. Like Chelsea had 35 people in the Premier League. That doesn't matter because you can play whoever you want in the Premier League. But if this guy is coming in as the backup right back for the squad without a proper right back, without someone that with a higher caliber, and you go in the Champions League with Livramento, it's a risk. Newcastle now playing in the Champions League, I think you don't want to take that risk. If I was my club, I would say it's a very it's not the signing I want. I want a better backup for Trippier. Is there someone better? Maybe. I don't know, but I don't think Livramento at this point, he hasn't played for a year.
And at the minute, getting a better backup for Trippier is like extremely hard for someone on Trippier's level who will sit and be a second choice right back. It's just not it's not really feasible at this point in time. Like, we're not going to get someone who's on Trippier's level at all, because he was literally one of the best performing fullbacks in Europe last season. So we're not going to get someone who's on his level, who's willing to sit and be a second choice and get game time here and there. I doubt it anyway, unless they obviously, again, go far out of our wage structure, which I highly doubt we're going to do. So I think I'm honestly fine with it. It's not like a Hollywood signing, but I'm okay with that, because
so, but you're not even going to announce Tonali, you know. You're not even going to announce Tonali, not tomorrow or the day after.
July the 1st, they're saying, for financial reasons.
So on Livramento, like you, I hadn't even considered really the point about like underwhelming Champions League until he mentioned it. I kind of agree with Kendall in the main in terms of his profile and the quality that he's shown and how he's perceived. But then the year out is actually quite a big thing. And I also think because he got injured quite early and he had a lot of promise and shine, like it's almost like absence makes the heart grow fonder. Because he's not been playing and things like that, we don't know how well he plays in defensive duels. We don't know how well he plays in certain aspects of the game. So it's a high upside transfer, but going into Champions League, it's a hint of a risk, because I think Trippier's got good legs in him for at least another year. But again, you know, I think it comes to the point of saying, are you happy for Livramento to be starting away games in the Champions League? Because that's what might be necessary. I guess he's better than Dummett and stuff like that. But on the flip side, I think you may be signing him for the potential and for who he can be, maybe not just for next season. So maybe they're taking a longer term view with the transfer and thinking, you know, he's going to grow. It's a great opportunity. 12 million is daft low, so maybe he had a relegation release clause or something.
Yeah, that's ridiculously low. Can I ask you, does anyone actually know about, like Kovacic, he's got injury records all over the gaff, not ACL records, but he's always injured, right? But Man City have a fantastic medical team. Like, do you know about how good your medical team really is? Like,
I don't specifically know the ins and outs of it.
Callum Wilson's been managed very well, you could say.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's the thing that I can look at. It's not, I don't know the ins and outs of the medical team or whatever. I'm assuming they've obviously got a little bit better since the new owners and stuff came in, because everything has. But yeah, the only thing I can judge it off is how well other players have been managed in terms of injuries. Callum Wilson literally had only, prior to this season, had only played half of the games that he was available to play for us in the last 3 years, which was really bad. But he's managed to play literally. He was out for a little bit of a section after the World Cup, but other than that, he's been absolutely sound for once. But that's maybe because he hasn't had the pressure on him because Isak's been there, so he hasn't had to start week in, week out like previously he would have, because we didn't have anyone else at that time. Apart from obviously Chris Wood, but that was again under the new owners. So I don't know whether it's a bit mixed with that or what. I'm just not sure. But we've managed our injuries pretty well this season. Trippier, again, he'd only played 4 or 5 games last season before, like not the season, just gone the season before, and then he was out for the rest of the season. But this season he's played the whole season. So we haven't really had any long-term injuries out. We've had like maybe a couple of weeks here and there, but nothing too major. So maybe that is because of the improvement of the medical team. But I wouldn't like to guess on that, because I honestly haven't got a clue, to be fair.
Even like people like Wilson and stuff, like when I checked how many games he's played this season, I was like, oh really? Like he's played, that's a lot. That's a lot of games for Callum Wilson. Like as in like even Willock was a guy that had niggles, and he seems quite clean, like in terms of his fitness. And also because there's a lot of intensity in Newcastle's play, a lot of sprints, so you got to be thinking about like the recuperation side of it and getting players like, you know, fighting fit and stuff. So it's definitely interesting how they manage the players. Even Isak as well. He's somebody that had a few injuries, and we'll see, you know, fuller seasons, more games, how the players react. But no, I think Newcastle, like from a fitness point of view, they're fittest team in the league, maybe hardest runners, maybe.
I'm not too sure who's ran the most miles and all this kind of stuff in the league. Like they usually always put kilometers, not miles, kilometers. So They always put down like which teams cover the most distance and which team hasn't covered the most distance. Exactly. That should be a good. I don't know. I'll see if I can find about that soon. But Jay, man, I've seen you. Spurs. You're very pro your team, very pro Spurs, very pro this. I don't care about the Levy in and out stuff. I'm not really fussed by that. Talk to me about your team, man. Like, are you optimistic this season or not? Because
so I think
we spoke was actually on the Twitter line, like the third line and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So it's
your response was deluded, bro. Like I ain't gonna cap. Like it was just thinking, do I even respond?
Yeah. What's it? Toxic positivity. Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah. I think next season is like, obviously there's a hint of the unknown. I think we're gonna improve. I look at overall like the point standing, and I kind of want to look at like other managers who've come into the league. How much have they improved their teams? How quickly has it gone? So Villa, they improved quite quickly. Newcastle, they improved. Brighton, they improved. So there does Wolves, they improved. There does seem to be a decent trend of managers coming into new clubs and doing pretty well.
I agree.
It's tricky to really place it until you finish the transfers. But as a club, regardless, there's 5 spots for the Champions League next season. Top 7 is Europe. I know there's a lot said about how bad Spurs' season, but one more win for Spurs and they're playing Europa League football. So the margins between not playing Europe at all versus that, you're looking at a team like Newcastle, you finish, I think, maybe 11 points off them. You got to be thinking, how do we reign? How do we get 4 more wins? How do we get more points? Are they going to get more points than this season? Are they going to drop back a little bit? But you're looking at teams like Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs. Like, there's only 5 Champions League spots. There's only 7 European spots. So I don't know. It's tricky. I think bringing in players like Maddison, some things are like the defense for Spurs was very poor last season. Like incredibly poor.
It's crap. And the thing is, you can't even put past it. You're only looking at one defender at the moment.
True, we're looking at one, but if you look at it, new goalie. So we'll have a new goalie next season. Udogi's coming in from Udinese, so we'll have a new left back. Ideally, we're going to buy a new centre back. So you've got at least 3 players there that's going to be part of a new defense. So that's a start. And then obviously Maddison, if you can get that over the line, you're looking at like 3 or 4 new starters in a team that did okay offensively last season. Son had a bad season. Kulu had a bad season. Richarlison had a bad season. So there's a lot of.
Can Richarlison get any worse?
Pardon?
Can Richarlison even get any worse?
Well, that's the point. As in, like, he can't be any worse than he was last season.
He can. He can.
No, he's not going to score 1 Premier League goal again. Like it's as bad as it's gonna. Some of these players haven't been coached properly. I think, for example, with the Newcastle side, you look at the players, and I look at the Longstaffs and the Burns and the Jacob Murphys, and I think they're decent footballers. But Eddie Howe's system and style and play has got them playing at a higher level than they ordinarily would be playing at. I think most people may agree with that, right? So, So a good system will enhance the players within that system. And for the last 2 managers, Spurs have had Conte and Mourinho, who are not managers who want to really promote the use of the ball, retention of the ball, utilizing it. So there's going to be a playing style shift, but long term that's going to benefit Spurs, and it just depends how quickly we can adapt. I've got no reservations that Ange will be a success. I'm very confident in Postecoglou.
What are you basing it on?
What's success based on?
So success is based on
no. What are you basing your no preservations that he's going to be?
Okay, so my thing is that when I'm looking at the best teams in the league. They play front foot football. They play with a distinctive style of play that's repetitive. So they play a style of play that can continually get you results against sides. It will continually beat another side on XG. It will continually allow you to create more chances than you concede, vis-a-vis win more games. So if I'm looking at that, you look at the style of managers who are capable of delivering that. So in Postecoglou, I see that he's been.
Whoa.
Can I just?
Did he just call him Imposter Coglu?
No, no. That's
He called his old manager Imposter Coglu.
That's a great slander name, and somehow by accident you've stumbled across one of the great slander names of our time. So, but no. So with Postecoglou.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, with Postecoglou, I'm just looking to see that style of play that he's implemented in different countries, in different leagues with different players. Obviously, it's a different standard and things like that. But you're hoping the manager can adapt. You're hoping the manager will be able to implement.
Fantastic. So all your whole thing next year is based on hope.
I wouldn't say hope.
Which is, I get it. Listen, I get it. I am with you. If you're gonna say it's based on hope, I will be on your bike and I will be with you.
If that's what you took from what I said, then fair enough.
Yeah, but to sit
I
here,
don't think it's hope. I think there's a little bit of fact.
You think it's based on facts, right? So the facts are like I didn't watch one game for this guy. One game. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So all I'm looking at is just stats here. His win percentage before Ajax, before Celtic, he never won more than 50% of his games. Never. Okay.
Yeah.
While at Celtic, it's so easy to get a positive win percentage. It's so easy. I'm sorry. With all due respect to the Scottish League, it is easy, right?
Okay.
So all what Spurs are doing now is getting someone who they heard or saw or scouted that he plays a very progressive style of football. I have someone in my country, a coach that coaches in some of our teams in Egypt, and they play really, really progressive football. Do you think if we bring them into the Premier League, they will be a success? Absolutely not. It will be a gamble. So Postecoglou is a big gamble because other coaches rejected Spurs, because I think there is something going behind the scenes, and it's not me thinking. It's very obvious that there's a shambles going behind the scenes, right? I can't sit here and tell you for a fact that he will be a failure or a success. Right, but I can see because I don't know the guy. I didn't watch him before, but I can tell you that everything is based on a hope, and the facts are he wasn't before given a winning percentages in other clubs more than 50% before Celtic. It's simple. So you are basing it based on progressive. Great. I have Vincenzo Italiano for Fiorentina, the most progressive coach in Italian football. If he goes tomorrow and coaches Chelsea, can Chelsea fans? Yeah, he played progressive football at Fiorentina. Is that going to be a success? It's a gamble.
Do you trust your board to even back the guy?
But the thing is that with any manager now, like the highest profile managers are they're coming to an end of their career. So now it's a new wave of top managers. Essentially, there's new profiles that are going to take over as being the top club. So you're going to have to take a gamble to an extent with any manager. There's going to be risk profile with different managers. Different managers that Spurs could have appointed would have different risks attached to them. This is the risk that you take with Postecoglou. And I get that. No issues with that. That's the risk that Spurs are willing to take in order to implement a style of play.
But do you think his risk is more than Nagelsmann's?
I think
that was less of a risk because their style is known, their name is known.
Well, I think with Nagelsmann, you've got a couple of things. There's one is there's a few different teams have not been able to agree terms with Nagelsmann. So you think, okay, is there something there? Okay. Separately, I can think, okay, well, Nagelsmann's only ever worked in places with really clear sporting structures. So he worked at Hoffenheim, he worked at Leipzig, he worked at Bayern. Clear sporting structures, clear frameworks. So then you have the point of, okay, we don't have maybe that structure. We have a structure we're trying to implement. How does he work within that? What does Nagelsmann look like without that infrastructure? Is that a risk that you want to take? What's your strategy for buying players? Is he willing to work with that? So whilst Nagelsmann is the better manager with the better pedigree, and argue, and you should think he's the choice. There's also other factors around it where you might think, actually, you know, maybe not him. So, yes, potentially the best manager we could have got, but risks attached to him in a different way.
Yeah, so I got a lot of stick and I got some DMs when last time a month ago when we said about Postecoglou. People say, why you don't want to give him a chance? It's not my club. I don't care. Give him a chance or don't give him a chance. It's not my club. Yeah. I'm just saying it as it is. And I'm a neutral here. I don't support the Premier League club. I see a guy coming from Celtic. Yes, he was successful at Celtic. So I can compare him to Gerrard. Maybe he has more experience. Maybe he plays more progressive football. What I'm saying is that Spurs at the moment, many managers rejected Spurs. You're holding your top player hostage at your club. You're literally just holding him hostage. You are holding him hostage. He wants to go. And so he wants to go and you're...
But on the flip side,
I can know. Have you not noticed how different? I say this near enough every other stream now. Have you not seen the difference in Mo over the last year?
Yes, absolutely. It used to be so like not timid, but like he used to be so like calm and neutral, and like the mediator. And now he's the instigator.
I am very neutral.
He's got the mediator to the instigator.
I have no agenda against Spurs. For real, I have no agenda against Spurs.
He's turned into devil's advocate now. He loves being devil's advocate.
See, I always present a different angle because I can sit here and we can all be echo chambers and say the same thing, right?
Okay,
but I'm calling it as it is. Forget Kane. That was a cheap shot.
I love it.
That was a cheap shot.
But what about? So you referenced Gerrard. What about Rodgers? What about Rodgers, who came from Celtic and finished fifth with Leicester? You know,
that was a good thing. Very good.
But didn't
Rodgers had Liverpool? Rodgers had Liverpool experience.
Absolutely, he did have Liverpool experience.
Here we go. And a big Liverpool experience. He always won the title, bro.
I like Rodgers as a manager, but what I'm saying is on that trajectory, they were appointing him based off what he did with Celtic in the Champions League when he drew with City and some of the performances they put. They weren't picking him up after he'd messed up with a Liverpool attack with Balotelli and stuff like that. So all I'm trying to say is that, like, if Arsenal went with Arteta with no experience, yeah, they made the judgment call when there was other managers with more experience who would have been arguably less of a risk, but they said this is the guy, and I feel like Ange is Spurs' guy, or at least he feels more like a guy that wants to be at Spurs, and this is the job for him, rather than a manager who feels like they're giving him a favor, and you don't really know the impact and the effect of just, you know, and that positivity around behind the scenes. So we'll see how it plays out.
We'll go deeper, but guys, about 400 of you here and not even on 150 likes, so at least this is a completely different debate. I never thought that I'll be debating Newcastle versus Spurs about 2 years ago. Never thought about it, right? But here we are. So hit that like button, people. It's free. It looks like this. Thumbs up behind your live chat if you're with us. So we'll keep going with this. I don't know what is next. Like, this Newcastle Spurs thing is.
It's not Newcastle.
It's something that looks like this. You know, like someone that is doing this. And doing this. I swear to God, it is.
No, can I be just really clear? It's not Newcastle. Like, Newcastle are gonna do bits, and Newcastle are on an upward trajectory and everything like that. But, like, you know, we need, as a Spurs fan, I need to say, well, okay, give me a few more seasons like this before I'm gonna be like, Newcastle have passed us, or Newcastle are better than us. So I can be like, Newcastle right now, last season showed they have a better team than Spurs. I'm like, okay, do it again, you know. And their ambition is to be in the Champions League again and things like that. So I'm not trying to say that, like, for me, Spurs have to be looking to finish above Newcastle. Like, Spurs cannot afford to be finishing behind Newcastle 2 seasons in a row this early in Newcastle's.
Why are you saying that? Because you're a top 6 club.
Because Newcastle aren't part of the traditional top 6. So
what is that traditional top 6 in the last 15 years?
It wasn't one. It was actually
hold
top 4.
on.
Yeah.
Let me just say that it was called Everton Cup until 2008, my friend. The 6th place was called the Everton Cup.
Yeah.
You remember that, right?
Yeah.
And then he came to the picture. And then you started getting Champions League football, getting Harry Kanes and the good stuff, but you never won something to solidify to put yourself on the chair and put it on the ground as yours. Now you're in the downfall. You haven't won.
Top six, man. We're top six.
It's
called the top six because we started finishing in the top four.
Yeah, exactly. The difference is when Chelsea got bought out and they started building the project, they won trophies. So even if Chelsea go 10 years without winning a title for the next 10 years, they can go back to the last 20 years and say, hold on, but we won that many trophies. United, why are United now still one of the biggest clubs in the world? Even though in the last 10 years, because they won enough, but you haven't. So this Spurs people, you need to know exactly what to expect.
No, but top six is still top six, man. Like you can't just revamp.
I swear I'm not bantering you. I swear, man, I'm not bantering. I'm
not saying you are bantering.
I am not trolling. I'm telling you what I said years ago with Spurs. I said this finishing top four above Arsenal, a trophy. You need to win trophies to put yourself on that chair without anybody moving you.
What chair are we putting ourselves on? Like, is this
top six? You said it. It's called top six.
Top six is a term. I'm not making the term up. The term exists. I'm not just creating the term.
All right, cool. Let's flip this then. Top six. Yeah, you can say it can definitely be dented. You know, things can change. The top six doesn't stay top six forever, right? But when there's money, there comes power, and you can't say Newcastle in here straight top six known club like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, everyone sees Spurs as fragile because your ownership, right? Yeah. And it's not like if you got bad ownership, do you spend money like Man United and spend it on bad players, but somehow keep in and around the range and all this kind of stuff? Let me ask Kendall, are you going to end up taking over that traditional top six spot away from them, do you think?
Well, I don't know from my point of view, but from our owner's point of view, they will obviously be expecting to be successful in the near future.
No. Don't give me a media answer.
Kendall. No. I'm not giving you a media. I'm not giving you a media answer.
I'm asking you, Kendall.
I'm not giving you a media answer. You know me that I'm very realistic, analytical. I'm not like one of these sensationalist people. So obviously they'll want to and I'm expecting to because of the money that they're going to put into it, the investment they're going to put into it, and just how far ahead of schedule we actually are. Because they literally said, 5 years for a league off.
I'm sorry, Kendall. What? I'm very sorry. I am very sorry. We have been called idiots. We've been called stupid this morning. And now David Ornstein just put in West Ham tonight received formal offer from Manchester City to sign Declan Rice, a deal worth 80 million plus 10 add-ons, which is instead of 75 plus 15. So here you go. The official bid is on.
And they can do it in smaller installments as well, can't they? So
the people that said, but they're not going to bid for Declan Rice, where are you now? Where are you, Egal? Come outside.
I was going to say, you need to get a gallon now.
It's crazy in the dunya right now. It's crazy. Let finish about that. Let's talk about Declan Rice.
Sorry, Kendall. I'm very sorry. That just popped up in front of me.
You are more than welcome. You go on. It's actually funny because all the Arsenal fans are like, he's an Arsenal player. Don't worry, he's an Arsenal player. He's going to be at Arsenal.
No, I'm still convinced Arsenal are leading the race. They're going to match the bid, and he wants to go to Arsenal based on the reports. If Arsenal match that bid, I think based on everything that we heard, he's going to choose Arsenal, right? Otherwise, he's just ridiculing them, right? Like he's just playing with their fans. Right? Because
I think it depends as well because someone had said that Man City were willing to do it in 2 installments and Arsenal was over 4. So it depends on that as well, I guess, on the payment structure and stuff. And
yeah, but what if he doesn't want to go? What if he wants to go? Also, players as well. What if he says, I want to go. I want to give them another chance. Like even if West Ham accepts the bid, the player has to accept it, right? He has to say, "I'm willing to go."
Yeah, personal terms. Yeah,
of course. But this is just for the people that said Man City aren't gonna bid. There is no smoke without fire. It was very obvious that the interest is there.
They'll call it Ornstein a fraud,
really? It's not actually just a tweet, Cass. It's not David Ornstein as a tweet. It's actually an article in The Athletic.
No, Ornstein just dropped his own tweet specifically.
Who?
David Ornstein. He's just
and he attached the article. So I'm gonna try to read the article. I'm not allowed to.
No, if you've got an iPhone, there's a trick. You just on your iPhone, you press, the show reader in the top right corner where there's press show reader and it bypasses the paywall.
Okay, I can try that later, but it doesn't matter. Oh, this is a massive thing. If Man City get Declan Rice, I think this is a domino effect in the transfer market. I actually think. Also, I think there is something about July 1st. A lot of teams are not willing to pay money now in June because the year ends at June 30th.
Yeah.
So they're waiting for that year to finish. So that gets off your FFP. And then you go to next year. That's a very, very big thing.
That's why we're waiting until July the 1st to announce.
So people don't understand that because you can only, I said it many times because I went and read about it. You're actually allowed 60 million euros loss for 3 years. If 1 year you fall behind, you get sanctioned or you get fines or something. So this is why I think people are waiting. But anyway, we can go back to Newcastle.
No,
or gonna have to get a gal here now. No, but as I say, I'm expecting that's the judgment, and I'm expecting to kind of follow up from them. They're not just here to. They've said from the beginning, like, they're not just here to take part. So obviously, I'm assuming based on that they are wanting to at least be in the top 6 consistently for however long they own us. So yeah.
The thing with top 6 as well is that I think with top 4 normally it's every year 1 or 2 teams completely mess up. Like they have like really difficult seasons. And now obviously you're probably gonna have Brighton. I think really you're looking at Brighton, Villa, and West Ham really are the teams that you're thinking are gonna round out the top 10 in theory. So you're looking at that and you're saying, how many points do you think will win the league next season? Because you're basically saying it's going to be the most competitive league. I think maybe even like 67, 68 points will get you that 5th spot in Champions League. Because think about it. Imagine having to go away to Crystal Palace, away to Brentford, away to all these teams and their bottom half of the Premier League sides. It's just going to be a ridiculously competitive league. So
but here is the difference, Jay, between Newcastle. You didn't hear me before saying that, between Newcastle and Spurs, and actually between Newcastle, Spurs, Liverpool, and Arsenal. Their owners are Saudis. They're Arabs, right? I'm Arab as well. They love football. They're gonna be willing to take that much of a loss, okay, just to get the team winning and to get the fans happy. They are willing to do that from their own pocket because they themselves care about winning. It's not only about revenue minus expenses. While your club, all they care about at the moment is how much money is coming in and how much money we're spending. So in the long term, so I'm not talking about the short term, Jay, I'm talking about the long term. We saw how Man City operated. They found loopholes, they found whatever, but they got the money in to make the club winning. You know what I mean? They didn't care about losing money here and there because they looked at the big picture and said, in 10 years' time, we'll be worth 6 billion. In 10 years' time, we'll be winning that much. We're willing to take the loss and look at Sheikh Mansour now and look at Khaldoon now at Man City. Your owners don't have this. Your owners don't have that. So in the long term, I think Newcastle looking at an upward trajectory. And if you keep going like this, everybody around you, especially with Man United getting the Qataris potentially, everybody, the benchmark is going to be raised. Are your owners going to raise the benchmark? Every Spurs fan will tell me no, they aren't. They're going to be content. This is why I said that top 6 thing, you did not win enough to make it yours. Even Liverpool, by the way, if they fall behind Liverpool, they'll always be a top 6 club. Why? They won 7 Champions League. You cannot just knock that and say, I haven't won anything. You have been Liverpool. Me watching football in the 90s and 2000s, Liverpool weren't actually a top team in the Premier League. It was Arsenal, Man United, and Chelsea came to the picture. It wasn't Liverpool, right? But Liverpool always had that many league titles, that 18 league titles, that many Champions League titles. You don't have that as Spurs. It's nothing against your club. It's just something you didn't use the time well. You know what I mean?
Listen, I wouldn't say we didn't use the time well. We didn't maximize our moment. We didn't maximize our window. To say we didn't use it well is probably a little bit too harsh. Not maximizing, suboptimal is probably a better way of looking at it. So I think we've got goodwill. Like, I get everything that you're saying. I don't think we've got loads of goodwill. I think, we've got some shine. It ain't going to last for long if we have another season or two like we had this season. Like, we don't have a lot, but we do have something. The gap between the top teams is not very big. So,
but you don't think your gap with them is getting bigger?
I think the thing with Newcastle is Newcastle are gonna.
Not Newcastle. There is no gap between you and.
No, it's not.
Let me get me that straight. There is no gap.
No, what I'm saying is teams like Newcastle, Villa, Spurs.
You're putting
Chelsea.
Newcastle with Villa. Okay.
No, well, the thing is no Newcastle. I mean, what I'm saying is that all these clubs are trying to put projects together and win. Yeah, I'm not saying that Villa's project is quite ambitious. I don't think they're as advanced as Newcastle, but Newcastle, City, obviously then you've got Chelsea with Bowley, you've got Man United and Man United. There's obvious. I mean, I don't know what being run by somebody like Levy and Enoch. It's not even like, even besides the fact of saying these guys are bad owners. It's more like, okay, they're just not a Saudi state, or they're not, an oligarch or something like that. So it's almost like how competitive they can be versus a Brighton model or a Brentford model. That's really the only way that we can do anything now. We have to just completely go for that kind of data-driven model and see how we get on. But yeah, it's not going to be easy, but I expect the club to try. And that's what you can basically ask for, to put intelligent people in the right positions and actually give it a good effort, to see whether you can win.
You want to shift gears completely about that?
I don't know. I don't know, man. Does this guy support Spurs? Yes, he does. Have we done any of the super chats?
You don't see it? No, I haven't actually.
Well, how about you? Do you?
I have done Winter Surfer only. So here is Bilali is saying another FDJ transfer saga. Frankie de Jong. Lord. Yeah, we're gonna talk. I'm gonna talk about it in details, probably with Cass tomorrow in the afternoon, because I think it's a very important one, because I think Frankie de Jong actually changed the market as well, because he is someone who is gonna make all teams better, including Man City. I'm just saying it, including Man City, because he's coming from Barcelona under Xavi. But thank you so much for the super chat. Tahir Khan is saying, great show, guys. Thanks, Kindle, for the show reader tip. Mo, you are a star, brother. Thank you so much, Tahir, for the super chat. Appreciate it, my friend. Thank you so much for the support for everybody. I know, guys, we're going to stop at some point and do all the super chat. Fabrizio tweet. You guys are telling us in the comments about Fabrizio Romano's tweet and here and there and all that stuff. I'm sure he just said the same thing. Maybe.
Let me ask a question, Kendall. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I have to talk on this Rice thing, because it's because we've been ridiculed just hours ago, and being saying, and Daps is so certain along the lines of Man City wouldn't put the bid in if the guy hasn't given the green light, because it's just wasting their time at the end of the day. I think it's similar to what you could say to Cucurella, right? 60 million. No, they're waiting for some sort of bid or some sort of negotiations. No, there's nah, you know what? Forget that, right? And now it's along the lines of Ornstein, which is Goon Lee. You might be a little bit mudded here, because he's so certain that he's going to go Arsenal. What makes if he's given a green light to Man City, what does this actually mean for Arsenal if they lose out on this target? Do you think this is just a major L for them?
I think. Sorry.
It is, yeah. No, you're all right. Yeah, it will be, because again, look, last window, everyone was mocking them for missing out on Mudryk. Everyone was mocking them the previous window for missing out on Bruno. Everyone was this is their MO at this stage. They miss out on their first targets and then drop to the second. The problem is this time, literally all of the competitive teams in the league are looking for a midfielder. Every single one of us is looking for a midfielder. So they're going to then have to drop to their next target, which could be the likes of Caicedo, who at that point might be already advanced with Chelsea. Then there's going to be the likes of Mount, obviously moving on. If Caicedo goes to Chelsea, He's already going to Man United or looking potentially to go to Man United. So this is where they're going to have to find, if they do lose out on Rice, as I kind of agree with more in the terms of I think he probably will end up at Arsenal if Arsenal match Manchester City's bid, which obviously I know it's a little structured a little bit differently, but the fee is roughly around the same. I think he probably does end up at Arsenal if they match it. But if he doesn't, just on the off chance he doesn't and they miss out, they're going to be going on because of how long this drags on. They're going to be looking at their 4th, 5th target here. And then they're going to have then it's going to be another excuse the next time around. Well, we lost out on Rice. And then people are going to, for some reason, obviously blame the club or whatever. And it's just going to be, again, another same old story. So, yeah, they really, really need to hope that they're not going to miss out on Rice. And as I said, he's probably I would say 60%, probably even a little bit more than that, looking like it'll be going Arsenal if they can match the terms. But it's just going to be a rinse and repeat again of the same old targets, and it does again look badly on them. Yeah,
I was going to say, so from my understanding, from Arsenal's first bid, they done 6 installments of the base bid of 13.333 whatever hell million, right? And then now, right, Jay, we don't know what's going to be next. But let's say Man City got a lot of cash that they can spend from just winnings alone from the trophies, Champions League, this, that, da. They've just offered 80 million plus 10 in add-ons. If that base bid is anything like 40 million, 35 million, 40 million up front, that bid is technically better than a bid that's going to be 95 million in loads of installments, because that's 2 installments that they potentially could be. We don't know if it's 2 installments, but this is what West Ham want. That might be the end, because it's crazy. Now Arsenal have gone from Rice-Sado, as in Caicedo and Rice. I think the Caicedo stuff might have shipped. Maybe it hasn't yet.
I think, and
then you go from then they went to Rice and Havertz. Now they might be having Havertz and then Lavia, and then Liverpool want Lavia as well. So this is crazy. Like Arsenal might have to move on to target maybe number 3 or 4, and that's exactly what you want when someone's trying to win the league, right?
So with this, it's almost like as well. Sometimes you can negotiate with a bit too much leisure. You can be just kind of relaxed negotiating. I don't know whether Arsenal were if they were kind of fucked no matter what they did. If they come in higher, would West Ham still have held out and they would have just ended up paying even more anyway? Would West Ham have actually done the deal? But in terms of them not getting Rice, I think it also has a big domino effect with other decisions. So, for example, if you don't get Rice, can you afford to sell Partey? We already know that Xhaka is probably leaving. So I'd argue if you don't get Rice, you then would not be able to sell Partey, and it would have a domino effect on the players that you would get. Maybe you get a different profile midfielder. Maybe it changes. Maybe you try and talk Xhaka out of it. I think they still get him, but I can't shake the feeling of City so openly and brazenly bidding for Rice, thinking that they won't be able to get the player. Do you see what I mean? I just can't shake that feeling.
100% right. Man City will never put a bid in unless someone spoke to Rice and he showed a little bit of an interest or said, yeah, I'll be willing to talk to you, because otherwise it's just stupid. They're going to look stupid. They're going to look like idiots. And they're not. I wouldn't take Man City, the people that negotiate are as like idiots. They are not.
It's interesting as well that Gundogan's left today, and then they've put an official bid's gone in today. So obviously that's their plan. That was their plan to
also,
go
Man
for.
City, I actually did the math. If they are able to sell Laporte, and maybe if they sell Bernardo, and remember, there is a money coming from Cancelo that people are not counting. Cancelo's out of they can raise 2 if they sell Bernardo, Walker, which is I don't think they're gonna sell both, but let's just put that, because people asked, can they get Rice and Gavardiol and Kovacic? Yes, and they will end up with 0, because Bernardo, Walker, Cancelo, Laporte are worth 200 million. Here you go.
Maybe more,
that's
maybe
0.
Maybe more.
Exactly. So people are asking, can they get Gavardiol for 100 million and Rice for 100 million? Yes, they can. Why not? They made money, as Cass said, and their sales will exceed their purchases, actually. That's plus the money they already have. It's crazy, huh? When you think about it, this club is run like a machine, bro.
But does Man City really need Rice, though? If we deepen it, do they need Rice? Like,
what if they push him Rodri into an 8? Like, because you think sometimes, like, you see Rodri scored some good goals. He's got a decent knack of arriving in the box at the right time. If you could maybe potentially push Rodri into an 8 position, they've got Kovacic, Phillips as well. Maybe they want to try Rice in defense. He can play in that 3-3 formation that they've been setting up and stuff. So I think Rice as well covers ground better than Rodri.
I don't know about that one, man. Rodri,
you don't. I feel like Rice is better in duels. I'd like to see. I'll check the data on that.
How many Rodris are there? Who do you compare next to Rodri?
Well, I think with Rodri, he's a unique player, like in terms of what he can do, but I think Rice is similar level but different attribute biases.
Similar level to Rodri.
Yeah, it's one of these things where it's like he doesn't have the same technical ability as Rodri, but I think off the ball, some of the other stuff, I think as well dribbles. I don't think
when Rodri joined Man City, he wasn't Rodri as of now.
Exactly.
Rice joining Man City 2 years under Pep Guardiola, completely different players.
Yeah.
There's not that you can't get Rodri in today's football. You can't get another Rodri. The way I look at it is, nah, man. Rodri's better than Declan Rice in every single area. I don't give a damn.
Yeah, maybe Rice.
Now, yes, but I won't judge somebody that didn't play under Pep.
Rice is going for twice as much as Rodri went for. I'm not just putting it down to the money, but like obviously these top managers are seeing something in Rice where they're thinking he's $100 million.
I actually don't understand why they are going for Rice if De Jong is on the market. I think De Jong suits him better. Way better
because his wife controls his lifestyle, bro. And as they say, hey, bro,
they have to sell him. Where is he gonna go then?
We said this last year as well. We don't even know.
And then he didn't go, and then he didn't leave. Yeah,
we gave them, but we tried to overpay for the guy as well. That's the thing. I'm not saying Man United, Man City, but clearly the lifestyle in Barcelona is harder to take off. And the fact of the day is he doesn't want to leave there. And you know what they say, like, happy wife, happy life.
He didn't want to leave there because of the 17 million euros they owed him.
And we don't even know if they paid him that yet. And
they said they paid him half. They're going to pay him on 2 years. So they paid him half.
That's mental, isn't it? Like, you wouldn't get that another job.
Public. They said they're going to pay them on 2 years. So they paid one now.
I don't know. If they're going to go for anyone, I think they go for someone like Kimmich because it's easy. It's an easy acquisition.
Yes, okay. But anyway, Declan Rice. I'm not going to speak on Declan Rice. I'm gonna let you guys, because if I speak on Declan Rice, Cass is gonna get upset. So go ahead.
No, I'm not gonna get upset just because I don't. Because
you don't rate how I actually look at this Man City. You don't think I'm correct, which is fine. I
just think it's super defensive. That's all it is.
I think it's more offensive. I don't know how you say that.
Yes, because it's more defense means you can do more in attack. But I just think they missed that link in the midfield because I just don't. Look, it's okay.
Think John Stones is the link?
Oh yeah.
So if I replace John Stones with Rice, this is more offensive or defensive?
Yeah.
Can we get
more offensive? Definitely.
It's more offensive, right? And if I put John Stones in the back instead of Walker is fantastic, great, but it looks like he's declining a little bit. If I put John Stones in the back, I don't know. We're not gonna get into this again, okay? I'm done. Yes.
I don't know what. Maybe I don't know. You lot are seeing. Look, if anyone's gonna upgrade someone's game, it's gonna be Pep Guardiola all day long.
Exactly. Okay, so let's agree on that.
No one in world football can replace Gundo and what he does for the team.
Foden can.
Foden
can. Foden in that position that he played instead of KDB.
Look, I think Foden's wicked. He's not Gundogan. That's what I'm trying to say.
Foden is young.
Yeah, but Gundogan wasn't Gundogan 3 years ago. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's 3 years ago, and we're talking about now.
Yeah, Phil Foden's only 19. He's definitely got 3 years.
If you're looking for that smooth transition from like where Gundogan is now to the player coming in, there's going to be a drop off. No.
You know what it is for me? Yeah, I just don't look at Declan Rice as a Pep Guardiola type player. That's all it is. I just think it's defensive, regardless if Stones can do what he does. He might get injured anyways.
Mikel Antonio begs to differ. Everything that Rodri has.
I just don't look at him as a link between Rodri and who's the other one, KDB.
KDB and Foden.
I think you lose a lot of. Look, I like the way they keep the ball and everything. I just think they lose a lot of ball retention. And I know they've got Kovacic, and he's just going to be the bench one, but I just don't.
I think he's fantastic, bro.
I don't know. Look, if anyone's going to prove anyone wrong, it's obviously Pep Guardiola, right?
Guardiola's going to prove us all wrong.
I just think Declan Rice is just a very good player. That's it. That's all I think he is. He's a very good player and he's got potential. Just like Bellingham. Bellingham was a very good player and he's not world class. He's got mad potential. But he's got mad potential. Well, for me, Rice doesn't have mad potential. That's all I'm trying to say is I just don't believe in it. I've watched enough of Rice to think like, yeah, he thrives in a team of West Ham and he looks like the better player and everything. But he's just not my sort of player.
Okay, if you were buying a player then, right? Let's forget what Pep's. Just think Pep wants to buy a player in that position. He wants to buy a 6 DM kind of player. Let's say you don't want Rice then. Who would you be looking to get if you're Pep, taking into account the style of play that he wants and the kind of player you're looking for?
He's not looking at him.
He just said he thinks that Kimmich is the guy.
Kimmich. Okay, let's say Kimmich is impossible because Bayern just will not sell.
Yeah. Okay, then I'll go get Frankie de Jong then.
Frankie de Jong.
So you think Frankie de Jong would be the
I think Frankie de Jong suits City way more than Declan Rice, actually.
I think Frankie de Jong's better as an 8, but if you're gonna ask me who do you rather have 6 and in the Champions League all right, let's call. If we call us if we're looking at Champions League, the ultimate game, semi-finals, do I want Declan Rice as my starting for you as a DM? Of all the DMs around there in the world I can grab?
No. I actually doubt that Declan Rice can play the 6 by himself. He only plays it in England. Remember, people don't look at international football and think this is club football. It's completely different. International football, you don't play the same team because the players are not around each other for a long time like clubs. I think as a 6, I know at the moment I would rather have a Casemiro, for example, as a 6, as a lone 6.
Not every player works out under a manager, man.
Yeah. I doubt that Rice is gonna be there as a lone 6, or maybe he's molding him. But why would he mold him if Rodri is still 26? Why would he get at 24 years old? I don't know, but I think Guardiola, if he takes that player, I think he changes the way he plays. And listen, I've seen Pep Guardiola change the way he plays football completely within a season.
Again, Camavinga, like he's been playing left back and all this stuff. He's just been given promises. Again, I think he's a better player. I think he would, if he went to somewhere like City and that left centre mid side, I feel like, oh crap, like I'll be like, oh, not today, man, please. Someone that can cover left, someone that can play DMs, 8. He's got a decent long shot on him as well. Like it's just, that's more of a that's more of a style type of Rice, right? Like can play defensive, not maybe as a proper defensive, but I've seen Camavinga look so good against City in possession, under pressure. Like this, I just think there's so many different players out there that is just not called Declan Rice. That's worth 100 million. If I'm going to spend 100 million, I'd rather spend it on someone like. I don't know, man. I don't know, but clearly.
Can we go back to the point that you talked about? If Arsenal don't get Rice, which looks like it's a possibility now, it's not something up in the air like Arsenal fans wanted to tell us earlier. It's something that it can happen. Do you think it's done for them? The progression is done. There is nothing to do here. Where do they go from here then?
They go get Mount.
No, you're taking the piss. Okay, you're taking the piss.
Kaz is very much hoping.
Why? They wanted him before.
No, you're taking the piss, right?
Why? They wanted him before.
Yeah, they're going for 100 million to someone that is 55 or 60.
But
you're telling me that both players are at the same level then? Is that what you're telling me now?
Maybe I think the Caicedo thing is quite advanced for Chelsea. I don't know if anyone's going to lay a hand on him, if I'm being totally honest. And even though Arsenal come in, they got to do a lot of groundwork again. I just think there's other targets in the world.
I think Caicedo is going to be July 1st. July 1st. I think Caicedo is going to become
there's much more targets in the world than just Caicedo and Declan Rice. And you'd think Arsenal Football Club has got someone on there thinking like, yeah, you know what? He's a great alternative. Zubimendi, I think, underrated. Another guy like his potential. He's just a very good player. Got potential, Lavia, I think they might get over the line. Do
you think they go in for Barella, for example, from Inter?
Dude, that'll make me vex.
This is why
you think they can be like hijacking the deal himself.
This is why. Yeah, I don't mind City getting Rice because that means they ain't getting Barella. Because I think they'll target.
What about Tchouaméni? Do you think they go and offer 80 million?
Maybe Arsenal want to get Tchouaméni and maybe they can price him away. That's
Would
not a
you
bad
like
shout.
Tchouaméni better than Rice? Do you think Tchouaméni is a better player than Declan Rice?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. No, I'll be honest. He's got very good potential. I just think maybe Arsenal can go get a proper DM like Palhinha. If you're going to sell Pai, go get Palhinha then and go get another centre mid. If you're going to spend 100 million, you're going to get up to 100 million. Go get another centre mid. I'm pretty sure there's one out there. Like I don't know who, 60 million and go get a Palhinha for 60 million. That's in your budget within everything anyway. So that's just, I don't know. I don't know.
Fulham are gonna see Arsenal knocking, and they're gonna say, 80 million.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You just missed up on Rice. You're knocking
you're
on
not getting you're not getting change out of 70 million for Paulinho. Like,
and I actually don't think Palhinha suits them. Palhinha
he's not.
He's
Yeah,
more of a
not
Casemiro.
Yeah, two-way. They want a two-way number 6. Like, he's very good from the defensive side, but he get caught out a little bit from the technical base of midfield. But yeah, Rice looks like the hottest midfielder on the market at the moment. So,
can I do these 2 super chats again? 2 super chats. 20 hard away is saying, is that 80 million in 2 installments were finished? Someone said that in the chat that it's actually 2 installment. You said
we don't know where it is. No one knows where it is yet.
Okay. City, no done deal, but the pendulum has swung. Yes, Simon, and I saw the other one. You're one of our members, of course. Appreciate all our members, of course. The Athletic article is fairly short and just lists the bids and some of the reasons why Rice is so sought after. Yeah, so it's just short. So, but thanks for the super chats, everybody. Guys, we're over 500 here. Can we get to 300 likes? Please check your like button. Please make it lit. So anyway, going back to Arsenal, let me just say something that is related to Spurs and Arsenal. Do we think a year ago when Spurs hired Conte, I was so sure you're going to get top 4 because, I'm one of Conte's biggest fans. I'm an Inter supporter, right? But look at the trajectory from then. What happened?
So, I was just there enjoying Rice talk, and I was like, hold on, what? So, last season when we beat Arsenal to top 4 and stuff, I remember after the season, a lot of Spurs fans, I was confident, I was happy, but I remember thinking to myself, Arsenal did pretty well last season. I wonder whether or not, how they're going to do next season. And then they bought Jesus and they brought Saliba back and Zinchenko, and their level jumped. Our level, I didn't think that we were, I thought we were better than we were. That's what this comes down to. I thought the team that we had coming into this season was better than it was. We obviously had the coach died. That was a big issue. Benson caught ACL. That was a big issue.
Don't forget about your criminal director of football.
Yeah, our criminal director of football. That was an issue. Richarlison, our 50 million striker, scoring 1 goal. That was an issue. As you can tell, there was a lot of issues. So, yeah, it comes down to the fact that Conte blew the whole thing up after we drew with Southampton as well. I think if he stayed, we might have been able to shithouse top 4. But he just didn't want to. And I think Arsenal they've stayed the course. They had a better plan than us. And yeah, we went for short-term gain with Conte. They went for sort of longer. And they've just been better than us in terms of player identification, style of play. The last sort of 12 months, Arsenal have they've been on a better level than us. So, yeah, credit.
And look at their targets now: Lavias, Timber, Declan Rice, Kai Havertz. Whatever we say about Kai Havertz, he's still a big player, right? He's a German international. Well, you're signing Udogi from Udinese.
What'd you call him?
I like the kid. Let me just get it. I like the kid.
What'd you call him?
Udogi.
Udogi?
Udogi. But,
I have no idea how to pronounce
you doggy.
This doggy.
Imagine this shit. He's a guy. He says he's like, I'm a guy that watches Serie A, all the time.
I never said I watch Serie A all the time. See, you're saying stuff I never said. I never said that.
Man. Flip it, man. You doggy, Come here, boy. Anyways, I was going to ask Kendall. Let me ask Kendall, about Spurs. Can Spurs make top 6? If providing they get someone like James Maddison, keep Kane for the season, you're looking at a winger. It looks like Harvey Barnes might be that guy. I don't really rate Harvey Barnes, but I think he's wicked, to be fair. He's a good player. He's a very good player. Effective, way more than Richarlison anyways. If they go get, let's say, get Tapped sober, they got Jed Spence comes back, there's 2 flying wing backs. They still got Pedro Porro. I don't know if he can play right back, but in an attacking system, he might be very well. They got a new goalkeeper. They got, like Chelsea, they have to embed a lot of new players. Not as good players, but very good players. No, I'm not gonna lie. You can't do that. But Suma, he might even look like a new player. You get what I'm saying? Because he can't get any worse than he did last season. You reckon they can sneak into top 6, or do you think you're like, you know what, the way things look at this moment of time, I can't see it?
I just think there's a lot riding on, especially what Harry Kane does as well. Like, you can't, because Harry Kane is literally, no matter what anyone says, he's very irreplaceable at this moment in time. There's not another, yes, there probably is in world football, but in terms of who is kind of reachable for Spurs at this point, like a player who is as prolific and who will give as much as Harry Kane will to a team, they're going to have to change the way they play. Obviously, players have played around him for a long time. They're going to have to change the way they play. The system's going to have to change. There's going to be a lot riding on that as well, which I actually feel sorry for Spurs fans in that respect, because if I had a player at my club and it was dragging on that long, it'll be similar to West Ham. Like, they'll just want the kind of saga to be over. Like, they'll just want something to happen for Kane to either say staying or to leave, and it to be and they can just crack on then in the market and crack on with their season, because that's going to hang over the whole summer until that's over with now. And they can do it.
One game a week.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's what the advantage that they've got now over the likes of Brighton, over the likes of Villa, over us who haven't played a number of games a week for 20 odd years. So, but again, they've got owners that aren't interested in actually bettering the team significantly in one window, if that makes sense. They'll do like a certain handful of deals, but like not all of the same quality, whereas other teams around them will do that. Liverpool, again, we don't know what they'll do. We obviously will be looking at strengthen. You guys will be looking at strengthen. Arsenal, don't know what they're going to do now if this Rice situation goes differently, but they have the potential to strengthen very, very well. So yeah, they can, but whether they will or not is again a different story.
Kendall, can I ask you? Kendall,
she's giving us proper media
questions. I know, yeah, it was a media.
Always does this until you poke her. She always does this.
There's nothing to poke me about. I'm not.
Always does this until you poke her and say something that will trigger and she'll come after you.
She saw me yesterday go viral. She's like, that ain't happening to me. I'm just gonna.
It's never happened to me.
That's straight down the line.
That is not.
I don't want 100 quotes on my head. Let me just go this down the line. Kendall, for you, for Newcastle, moving forward this season, you're in the Champions League spot. Next season, let's say you do a deep, do you expect to maintain? As in, like, to you, how important is being in a Champions League spot at the end of next season? Does dropping back into your Europa League spot or something like that, is that a backward step for you?
No, because even as I've said, obviously it's a backward step in terms of like literal progression. Like, you don't want to go Champions League and drop out Europa League, obviously. But again, we've just got to temper our expectations, because we don't know how we're going to handle them extra games, especially traveling and stuff, because we didn't have that last season compared to everyone else, which is what I kept saying to everyone all the time. Like, if we didn't get Champions League last season, considering the position that we were in for most of the season and the chain of events that had happened, like Liverpool not having the best season, like Man United obviously not having the best season at the start or midway through, Chelsea not having a great season. Like, that chain of events was was very unlikely to happen ever again. I don't think if we dropped to Europa League it would be that much of a problem, because again, we're tempering where we're at next season.
Do you almost think like if you'd made Europa League, it might have been a kind of easier setup for this season moving forward? As in, like,
if we'd won Europa League, then I would have been expecting to go into that and expecting to. I wouldn't like to actually try and win it. That would be my expectation going into Europa League. Champions League, obviously, I don't want to go out in the groups because that's embarrassing. I want to at least get out of the groups at the very, very least. And I'm obviously judging it based on this summer, because we don't know what's going to happen with signings and stuff like that. And I'm expecting us to strengthen very heavily. But yeah, in terms of like looking at, to step backwards on paper, because you've gone from 4th to 6th or whatever, or Champions League to Europa League. But in terms of like the future of the club and that, or Eddie Howe or the team, if we finish Europa League next season and have a decent cup run next season and get out of the groups of the Champions League, I'm more than happy with that. Like genuinely, I am.
How low would you have to go before you start thinking,
we'd have to drop
now
Guzman,
what's going on?
No, we have to drop out of European football, like 100%.
So if you finish
if we finish 8th next season, then I think they're going to be a bit. I think Conference League. I
was going to say,
even if you finish in Conference League, I don't think you would.
I think
no. Because me and Daps were talking about this earlier as well. Like Arabs want to win, yeah. It'll be like the Mark Hughes situation all over again. You're gonna get backed. You got Tonali, you got probably Livramento. I don't think it stops there, right? You spent your money. You got into Champions League. You've overachieved. Maybe that might be if he finishes 7th. That's him thinking like, bro, you've just hit your ceiling. I don't know if you can move on with that. Like, I'm pretty sure they'll have someone in mind. I know there's a love for Eddie Howe, and I think he's bringing a good buzz feeling to Newcastle, the fans, and it's hard to detach from that. But finishing 7th, look, it's the same thing I said to you the other day as well. I think it was it the other day, Kendall, as well? On Saturday, I was saying along the lines, like, you don't see it yourself because you've been in the mud for so long, you could say, especially. But it's okay to raise your expectations now because you're spending money on good players. They're not rubbish, they're good players. You've got a good system going on. You've got good fields around the city itself, the training complexes, everything. It's all fresh, brand new. If you finish 7th with no trophy as well, that's an ultimate failure.
Oh yeah, it'll be depend on the context of the season. 100%.
I think that's the standards that Newcastle could bring themselves towards and think like, what? We just had new Champions League. If you got Europa League football in a convincing season, and you've actually done quite well in there, and you maybe got to another final potentially, and you can work off of that. You got to get used to it. Conference League, where you see trains going around the pitch and stuff like that. It's not how I look at it.
I'm here for
it. You have to have some representation there a little bit. And I thought it's the same with Mikel Arteta now. Arsenal fans, if he finishes, let's say 4th next season, 3rd even, and doesn't even look good in the Champions League or gone further, maybe not even a trophy there, Arsenal fans are going to be, I'm telling you now, you know what's going to be. It's going to be absolutely chaos. So that's just the way I look at it.
It's chaos.
I think as well, Kaz,
something like really terrible.
If the manager's been backed, that's all I'm going. This is all off if a manager has been backed and has had 150 million spent in and around the team. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, one thing I'd say, Kaz, next season,
why are you laughing, Mo?
I just saw something. I just saw something. Anyway, go ahead.
But I was just going to say, next season, like in terms of teams' hunger to win a trophy, it's like there's a lot of fan bases that are ravenous. Like there's a lot of fan bases that are, like Newcastle want a trophy, Spurs want a trophy, Arsenal need a trophy, Liverpool they need a trophy. Obviously, City go for all trophies. Like, and there's a number of teams like Villa, West Ham, Brentford, all of them who think they could be validated by winning a trophy. So I think next season as well, the competition in the cups is going to be really, really steep too. So that's going to be tough to see. Like, we're all trying to just win something, right? Anything.
Yeah. I think.
I think the value of the cup went up because Man City are winning all the leagues.
100%.
I'm going to say a mad thing, but I think this is going to sound crazy. But I actually think Chelsea and Tottenham have a very good chance of winning the domestic cup next season. But I don't know which one, but one of them. And I know I've been on a bit of the train of Tottenham and Chelsea, but as again, one game a week. Other teams be focused elsewhere in different competitions. Like even West Ham, they're in the Europa League. they got other competitions to think about.
Both teams are very tons of unknowns. Like you don't know how Bissouma's gonna play. You don't know what Son is gonna turn up. You don't know what Kulusevski is gonna turn up next.
I see Southampton get to beat a Man City in a quarterfinal. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Like I'm thinking, okay, they didn't have the greatest, and no one expects that from Southampton when they're in the bottom 3. So I'm saying. Tottenham's obviously you never know, but for someone that's actually watched a bit of Sully, I like the way the guy plays football, man. And I think Spurs have got that play with Harry Kane. It might be that goodbye present, like here you go.
The good thing is the difference as well with Postecoglou. Like he's not egotistical, or he doesn't seem egotistical anyway, which is a kind of the direction that Spurs have gone in the last couple of managers. He seems like pretty humble and like he's ready to actually work and put in the work to improve Spurs, which is leaves a lot to be said for some managers because they just come in and expect to win, the likes of Conte, the likes of Mourinho, because of their pedigree, and that's fine. They're absolutely they're totally justified in thinking that and going into a job and expecting to win. Like, that's totally fine because they deserve it for what they've won in the past. But yeah, I think that's another good thing for him, is that he's actually ready to, I think, knuckle down and actually change a few things and get to the club to where it, like, everyone expects it to be. So well, not everyone, but maybe Spurs fans.
Everybody expects. The problem is there's not enough seats at the top table for everyone to be where they want to be. Like that's the unfortunate thing. But it's almost like musical chairs. Like and like each season somebody sits down and it's like, oh, not your turn. So
yeah,
I like that though, because every other league, literally across like Europe mostly, is literally, I know I hate the term, but like Farmers League at this point. Like, it's pretty. I know everyone will say that about the Premier League and says, "Oh, City will always win it," and that's fair enough. But below that, even still across Europe, there's only three, 4 teams that are pushed that actually get into those top spots. Whereas the Premier League, like the top 10 now, is looking like any one of them could do something next season. Like Brighton, like Aston Villa, like Newcastle, Spurs, Chelsea, Liverpool, like everyone like that. It looks like they could actually do something next season, and I like it.
Aston Villa's an interesting one. I'm going to keep an eye on that one. But
I don't know if I can cope like for the rest of the season. Like, my heart won't cope. I'm going to have a heart attack.
Every away game next season is going to be a joke. Like, every time you have to go away from home, whoever you play,
I'm actually not looking forward to it.
Yeah,
like,
it's going to be horrible. Like, the easiest game I can think of.
I actually think, based on what is looking like now, I think Newcastle finish above Spurs, 5th, 6th, whatever.
Right now, as they're looking like they're finishing above us too.
Yeah. Everybody, we still have over 450 of you here. At least give me to 300 likes before we finish this show. The like button look like this. Just hit that like, it's free. But I thank Jay. Thank you, Kindle, for being here, guys, with us. It was a great show, informative, a little bit of
what they will say about Jay,
you know. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, thanks. Great.
At least we didn't mention James Maddison, so that was fun.
I know there was no James Maddison.
Yes,
you know, Deji doesn't rate James Maddison at all. You know, he doesn't rate him. Deji doesn't rate him.
I think the thing is with Maddison, I'm hoping it's one of those ones where it's like you really see his quality when he goes to Spurs. He's the right age. He's the right profile. I just think he's ready to blow up. Like, and I'm surprised he's not like United. I guess just because you got Eriksen and you've got somebody and you got Bruno, maybe you don't want that.
No, it is, because for me, Maddison, I think Ten Hag might look at Maddison and think he's just a 10. He's not a multifunctional player, and I think you'd operate under a 10 more than what we would, because Bruno plays more as an 8 on the right or the left. Does that make sense? I don't look at Maddison as a player that plays like that. So, but I would if it was me, I'd be like, yeah, I'm taking him.
Kendall, can I ask Kendall one thing about Newcastle? Because somebody just said a comment about time wasting and stuff like that, and I was like, you know what? Because obviously Eddie went and learned and watched Simeone and watched a number of these managers and it incorporated little things. Do you think, like even with like Tyndall, the assistant, as Newcastle have gotten a little bit bigger now, the spotlights are the profiles are starting to know, you know, there's like the Twitter page on Tyndall. People are complaining more about your time. They're complaining more about the time wasting. Do you think you see changes to Newcastle's approach next season? Because you're a bigger fish, you're a bigger catch. Do you see Newcastle changing any of this stuff that they've done this season? Some of the
if anything, it'll get worse.
Oh, you reckon?
It'll just get 10. Yeah, 100%. It'll get 10 times worse.
Oh, really?
There'll be more time waste. There'll be more shithousery going on. 100%. Sorry, I don't know if I was allowed to say that after a certain time, but yeah, 100%. It'll get 10 times worse.
Okay.
And what bothers me, I don't necessarily like time wasting, but I look at it from a point of view for someone who has followed Simeone for a lot of years. I see it sometimes it's like a very tactical decision to do things like that. Obviously, if you're not like against Arsenal, for example, earlier in the season when we were 0-0, they for the first 11 minutes they absolutely ran us ragged, and Eddie Howe's like, yeah, that is not happening today. I'm afraid we're gonna just come away from here at least with a point. So obviously then things started happening. But a lot of teams get praised for like, oh, it's good game management, that good, tactical nous, good like approach to the game, good attitude. Whereas when it's Newcastle, it's like, oh, they play horrible football, like garbage, like Eddie Howe's a time waster, and Jason Tyndall's like an idiot. And I just think, like, just like have a bit of balance, man. But I don't mind it. I'm actually just getting used to it now. Last season was hard because we've been so irrelevant for so long. Like, genuinely, I don't mind saying that. I'm quite open saying that. We've been very irrelevant and very crap. That, like, I wasn't used to getting hated on by fans because, like, no one cared about us before. We weren't a threat to anyone, and we're like just like mediocre. Sorry, I thought it was a spider in my phone. I had a heart attack. Like mediocrity, and now because we're actually like competing, we're actually like making a name for ourselves. I'm gonna have to get used to not biting at everything this season. Because
I think your big game on the you're a big catch nowadays, as in like nobody likes the uppity new neighbors. I know you guys think that you're old school because obviously from back in the day you were doing a little bit, but the uppity new upwardly mobile neighbors, nobody likes that shit. Like we don't like the status quo being moved. So I guess every little thing that Newcastle do at the moment that's not in line with Queensberry rules and the best behavior.
Oh yeah, they just wanted us to come on up and be like,
yeah, that's like... absolutely. How dare you indicate that you're some sort of presence or growing force? I'm not having it. So no, it's,
let me put Michael's comment. The one that's okay. Paul to have a box full of Trent, Turan, Barella, Mac-10. Are you thinking
that'd be a top midfield, to be honest?
I think you might be smoking, Mike, but it's absolutely totally
and the last
fine.
comment, I'm not going to put it up on the screen, but let's just say, Kendall, you probably can read it yourself. I don't know if you
well, am I going to read it?
I don't.
You don't read it out loud. It's just fine.
Yeah,
just put in a comment for you. So
yeah, man. I'm not going to say much to it. Get some water, bro. It's free.
Anyway, so we're almost on 300 likes, so get these likes up and check us out. Turn that notification bell, of course, so you know when we're going live. And thank you guys for everybody that tuned in. Thanks for Kendall. Thanks for Jay. It was a great show, and hopefully we'll see you guys
what about
soon.
thanks for Kessler? Always, man.
I want to thank me.
Yes, thanks, Mo. As always.
Thank you, Cass. And we're out of here.